then I'm gonna have to run around just a little bit because we don't have internet at City Hall right now. I'm using my hotspot, and I realize I need to plug my phone in if it's gonna last an hour and a
Oh
half.
no! Thank you for doing that, Chris.
So we start the meeting and.
Was there a packet?
I can share my packet.
Oh my gosh, Atticus. My caregiver, he was so nice. It's like,
Worried about.
I'm gonna take a 5-minute shower.
Working.
Wait to drive me home, but I feel bad. I mean, he's getting the hours, but still. Saves me $17 in a lift here, but.
I'm worried about the stream.
It might not be able to.
About
it says that it's live streaming, but I don't know if you're trying to check with a separate device.
No, I think it might have just connected finally.
You need us.
Oh, now I see the green check mark. That was missing before.
Yeah, now we're going.
Good call.
Good evening, everyone. It is 5:39 on February 27th, 2024. Welcome, everybody, to our Philomath Inclusivity Ad Hoc Committee meeting for the evening. And we are going to get started by taking attendance. We'll go around the room first, and then we'll go across the Zoom screen, and including everyone else that's out there and about. Okay? Okay. Jane Sherwood.
Rose Bricker. Zena Allen.
Kate Stewart.
Miss Workman, City Manager.
Nora Smith.
Jessica Andrade. And I don't know.
McMorrin.
There we go.
I got you.
Good job, Chris.
I wasn't sure if you were on mute or not, and if you could do that while driving.
I just have a little button I press to go unmuted. It works well.
Nice.
Stay focused.
Please.
Okay, we're going to, we have an approval of our January 23rd, 2024 minutes.
Did anyone have any issues with the minutes, or are we good on that? I'm sorry, is someone saying something?
Oh,
Nothing, we're good.
Atticus keeps looking at the door.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, so hearing that there isn't any objections to the minutes, it looks like we can approve them.
I don't believe there's any urgent business this evening.
Correct.
Okay. And onward to our business, our council co-chair. We're going to postpone that until March when we have Diane Crocker back. And so then we're going to go to updates and announcements. I'm going to talk a little bit or see if we have any comments about our Jedi training that occurred on January 27th. Anybody have any feedback on the Jedi training? I know I personally thought that it was very well put together. It was informative. I thought that it was, I felt like there was a good sense of belonging to the group. We all worked in teams off and on, and it was a very good discussion all the way around, I felt. Anyone else?
Uh, I guess I had mixed feelings about it. I appreciated some of the more in-depth conversations, but would have liked more context, more historical context to ground what to ground some of these principles in, and to kind of explain, you know, like how we got to where we are today, and how to a bit more tools to kind of uh, figure out how to dismantle our unintentional uh, biases, and uh, just to being able to recognize barriers, and removing them, and just everything that's built into this system that we've been indoctrinated in, um, with all of those kinds of oppressions. Just trying to figure out, yeah, better tools would have been nice as well. Um, but I'm glad that we had it. I think that it was very necessary. Um, yeah,
Do you think that
those were
might be
my
the next step?
the what would be.
Do you think that that might be the next step in training, is maybe looking at that more in depth?
Perhaps I'm realizing that I personally would like to get more feedback from the participants who aren't in the inclusivity committee. Um, I since only a few of us went, from the committee, so I'll see about reaching out to hear more thoughts about direction. Chris, did you have any feedback? Or did anyone share anything that you're able to share?
Nobody's really shared anything with me directly
Hmm.
outside of just the comments that were made that day, which
Okay.
was very positive.
Yeah.
I did appreciate the time we spent talking about public policy and looking at public policy with a lens appropriate to diversity and equity, and I thought that was useful. I think from what I heard, the council members that were there appreciated the activity where you put yourself in the middle and kind of put your different attributes and recognized kind of where you were and where some of your um, where you had things in common with other people and where you had differences with other people. So I thought that exercise was good, but I think it was a good balance. I mean, obviously in any one of those areas, we could have gone a lot deeper and had a lot more kind of in-depth, maybe more personal interaction or conversation on how things were going. But I think for training at that level with that variety of people there, I thought it felt pretty appropriate. So yeah, again,
Cool.
everybody I talked to at the meeting itself, at the train itself,
Hmm.
enjoyed it, thought it was worthwhile.
Cool.
I thought
Thanks.
it was worthwhile. I did not find it enjoyable by any means, but it did open my eyes to a lot of the issues that we still really have in our community that aren't quite being addressed. But I do think it was a good place to start, and yeah, it was informative.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing? Sorry, I
Of
can't
course.
raise my hand. I think I think I said this during the training too, and I think I'm really glad we did it. I feel like I've been to a lot of sort of DEI trainings, and I don't feel like any of them have been perfect. I don't know if there is a perfect one, so I'm glad we did this. I think the only thing that really stuck with me is it just felt like that training was a little more designed for like school districts or sort of like corporate things. And I think maybe going off of Jessica's comments, like I would maybe like a little more context or tools like for sort of how specifically we can do this as a city and as a city council, just because our like scope and our, you know, authority and our responsibilities and everything is like a little different than some of those other organizations. So that was just the only sort of thing I left wishing I had more of, was like, how do I apply this to the city context? But I agree with everyone that, you know, I'm glad we finally got it done, and I think it was a good first step, and I'm glad that that we were able to make it happen.
Cool beans. Thank you for sharing, everyone. And then also, sorry, I completely spaced. I just wanted to welcome Katie. Thanks for coming. It's always great to have more people come to committee meetings. So thank you.
Rose?
Was there a feedback survey at the end or anything like that?
I don't think there was.
No? Would be a good thing, like at the beginning
Mhm.
and the end, pre-post test or a feedback survey at the end. Give us something to go off of what they want more of, like a roses and thorns thing.
We provided her with comments and feedback, but it went right to her. It wasn't like
Mhm.
feedback that was shared with the city. It was more directly to her as a presenter that she utilized. But yeah, we didn't get anything.
Chris,
Get
would you?
access to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
More knowledge?
So that's all I had for updates and announcements. Did anyone else have anything not already on the agenda to share?
Then let's kind of review our Black History Month events. Zena, did you?
Oh, no, yeah, I was headed there. The event seemed to go very well. I think it was fantastic, and I did really enjoy, how do I guess, what the doctor had to say, and I was sad that I didn't get really nobody from the city reached out after to connect with him and thank him for his great work. And that was kind of disappointing, although it was wonderful for him and me both to receive honorariums. But I think sometimes just even acknowledging that after the fact, or again, thanking somebody that has come to our city, taken the time and spoken, is important to recognize that. So that was sad to hear. But other than that, I think they were great, both of them, and good turnout.
The one on the 7th, but I thought it was an amazing turnout. Zena did a great job.
She did a very good job. It was well done.
You went to the one at the high school?
Yeah.
You guys were both there? How was that one?
I'm a little bit biased because I had a concussion, but it was good.
Wait. Really quickly, sorry. Is it all right if we summarize really quickly what your event was and what the event at the high school was, just for context for people who might not know?
It was an event at the museum. Zena and Dr. Dr. Robert Thompson both spoke. And then we had representation from the NAACP that were there as well. And then
Thank you.
the high school one?
There was a presentation of the Buffalo Soldiers at the high school with a great question and answer session after the event. And I think they both were well done. It was interesting.
Thanks for the added context. Okay, sorry. You can go back to talking about the events.
Did you have anything to add to that, Zena?
I think that we, as a committee, we need to consider how we exchange information to more people, especially that want to attend these events. I think it would have been helpful to have like some more flyers and stuff and things like that. And this is a very small town, so a lot of things like that go by word of mouth and just asking possible businesses or things like that if they want to put a flyer about upcoming events. I don't know, even the laundromat. That's a good place to find out stuff. So just more, the more people I talked to, they were like, "I'm glad that you texted us. I had no idea that this was happening." And I was like, "I'm sorry." Go to our webpage or
Okay.
Facebook.
Was the high school racial equity club there? They were going to be passing out like buttons or stickers or something. They were going to have a table there.
It's there.
Right. I did connect with someone from the high school who's in charge of the racial equity club, and they said that it got announced over the announcements at school, and then also in some newsletter that goes out to the parents. Cool. That was helping promote it.
Thank you,
did wanna
Rose.
mention
That's awesome.
the reader board. The day of the February 7th event, it got taken down, and the Samaritan wards went up. Just some feedback. I know Ruth is out there with an umbrella in the cold. Something for next year.
Yeah, and I also got a lot of feedback from people. I know that it's really hard to schedule these events like during the day, but I think it would have been great for us to involve more students, especially at the high school. So I don't know in the future if we could have it be something that students and more people can attend, given the timing. The times for everybody's a little bit rough.
I'm trying to remember whether it was posted. I think it was posted in the high school, the newsletter.
Yeah, no, it's just like the timing of it being in the evening and all that. And, it could be good to
Can I
just
chime
have-
into that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I also talked to some folks after the event about that, and then talked to Counselor Nielsen a little bit about it. And I think it might be worth just reaching out to the school district to see if there's any more sort of like collaboration that could happen there, as far as like, if we're already paying to have some speaker from out of town come in, like, can we have them come in a couple hours earlier and like do an assembly at the school, like at the end of the school day, and then do our event in the evening or something? And I mean, maybe the school can't do that, but I just think it would be worth checking in with them. And I think me and Counselor Nielsen are happy to do that. But it does feel like it might be something that they're, if they're already looking to do like a Black History Month assembly, and we're like, hey, surprise, free speaker. It seems like a worthy sort of pursuit. But I just wanted to add that to Zena's comment.
That sounds like a real good idea.
Especially with a documentary that is really enjoyable and entertaining too.
It was very entertaining. It was very good. I learned a lot. It's very cool.
Well, thank you everyone for the feedback, and thank you so much for helping and planning, and for speaking, Zena. But yeah, everyone, thank you. I'm really sad I couldn't be at either of them. Are there any other thoughts that things that we thought went really well, or or things that we think we can improve upon that we haven't shared yet?
I think if we could figure out the technology for a live stream, or at least a recording, if we're all about accessibility, that's one thing we missed this year.
Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, definitely.
There is a recording of it. I just have to track down the man that took the recording of it.
Of your event?
Yeah, because
Oh,
lots
cool.
of people have been asking for that, and if we have a recording.
Awesome.
Get me a
Because I
copy of
acquired
that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Sorry, what was that?
I just told Zena if she gets me a copy of that, then I can upload it to the city's YouTube page.
Very cool.
Jessica, you were saying.
Oh, I was just saying I got a very poor audio quality recording recording of it, but like I couldn't understand, like I couldn't actually hear and process what was being said for a large portion of the time, unfortunately. But what I did hear was great.
I will just add, I think regardless of the quality of the events, doing 2 events in 1 month felt like kind of a lot and a bit of a push. So I don't know if you talked about that while I was gone, but I think in the future we need to say, these are both great ideas. Let's do this one and do this one next year. Or, yeah, and just, we've got a lot of other events and other things as we're talking throughout the year. And again, it wasn't like overly burdensome. It just felt like a lot to be promoting 2 different events, and
Agreed.
it was a lot. So I think going forward, no matter what the celebration or whatever we're doing, I think we just need to try to focus in and put all of our attention in that one event and make it as good as we can make it. And I think we did lose a little bit of in both events because we had 2 instead of just 1. So it meant we kind of split up duties and different people were doing different things for different ones instead of everybody kind of focusing in on one. So just a little feedback.
Okay.
Thank you.
Or we can really try to involve again more, like the NAACP or other people that want to, or have, that kind of extra oomph to do the events and connect with them possibly more.
Thank you for everybody's help in that and feedback. Moving on, next is our Women's History Month. We have our proclamation and banner to go over. Our proclamation, the proclamation that is in our packets, was the page that was still the yellow highlighting were still the edits that we needed to make. Somehow that copy got into the packet instead of the finished.
I sent the wrong
copy.
one.
But anyway, the finished copy is finished and no yellow highlights are on it, and I can get that sent out to Ruth tomorrow if that's okay, and Jessica, I can send you the finished clean copy tomorrow as well, if that's okay. Okay.
So what Jane and I worked on and updated was the first whereas, was the one that we focused on the most. Let me see if I can remember. I took out non-binary, added in two-spirit, and then changed the wordage to creating an allyship of cultural understanding to all gender-expansive people, including but not limited to cisgender, transgender, two-spirit, gender nonconforming, genderqueer, and anyone woman or girl identified. So those were the big changes that Jane and I worked on this last meeting.
Yes.
Does anyone have any opinions about these changes or that they'd like to share, and or any edits to any of the other language that was originally in the proclamation?
At this point, I mean, I think I've already stated kind of my opinion on the matter, and I think at this point, if this is how we're moving forward, then I can get behind that. And I know that this has taken them both a lot of hard work, so I can appreciate that.
Were you talking about the first whereas? Specifically, or
Yeah, no, I think I think the most important thing is to be plain, I get, not plain in speaking, but like not get so bogged down with the words that we lose our message. And so I think that sometimes using so much terminology can be a little bit limiting. And but again, I'm a person that hopes that, you know, Black History Month will just eventually be history, you know. And so I think, again, I think what you're trying to do is noble and honorable. I just think sometimes we can get really caught up in like politically correct terms and terminology, and that can lose that. But again, I support this. So
Jessica, what do we do at this point? I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay. I was trying to refrain from saying anything because, like, I know I don't want to influence with the power dynamic and everything. I think it looks great, but basically, if no one has any objections or any edits that they want to make, then we can just send the non-highlighted version to Ruth to put in the city council meeting packet for them to review and uh, hopefully, most likely, approve. um, so, if you have any thoughts you want to share, now's your chance.
March 11th.
Okay. Okay.
So
Not
I think
approved by the city council, and they want to make edits. I'm just thinking next month is Women History Month, so
Yeah, they'll approve it or they'll modify it and approve it as modified.
okay, gotcha.
So they'll, I mean, they'll pass something, I would think.
Okay,
Okay. Sounds good.
they won't just take it back to us.
No, I think there'll be something. I mean, there may be some reservation with the first whereas clause, but I think we all anticipate that that's a potential. So, you know, that's the only thing that I really see. And again, I've not thought through this at all, so I'm kind of just thinking out loud. There, I could see if the wording, if they don't want to tweak the wording, maybe they put that as like the final clause or the final whereas statement instead of the first whereas statement, just so that it, you know, we're talking about Women's History Week, and then we get into, and this includes everybody as opposed to starting there. But I don't know. I'm just putting a couple thoughts out there. So.
And Chris, I'm a newbie here, so I'm just jumping in different ways, but I would say that was one of the things that first caught my attention in terms of that I think this is great. I think that whole whereas is a great piece of it. Is it the first thing we want to be saying? Or is it that's a piece of it in terms of everything that's going on within the proclamation? So maybe, again, like you were saying, have it either in the middle or further down within it, so that the first thing you're saying has, you know, this is something.
yeah,
This is the thing.
This is the thing.
that's how I
and
would
then this is
about.
that's yeah.
and then this is a piece of it as well.
I think that's good.
I agree with that. That would feel much more natural and just.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it takes anything away from it. It's just a matter of, to me, it's just an organization. I mean, what are we? The second whereas feels like it should be the first whereas. Whereas the first woman's history, I mean, it's kind of a historic thing, and then you get down to this is including everybody. But I get the understanding of having it first as well on setting the stage. So I can go either way.
Yeah. City council is saying.
Well, I'll put this out there. There may be less tendency to want to manipulate the wording if it's not the very first thing. Right?
So
If it comes down at the end, then it's like, yeah, this is fine, and yeah, this language, maybe I'm not so crazy about it, but I'm okay with it because it's.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Rose, if we're looking at it, then what do you think about, we have our first being the second one. And then the second, whereas being theme for National Women's History Month as number 2, and then slide our first whereas in number 3 spot.
History, this includes everybody.
I like
This
And
is-
then all the rest of the little bits.
That a lot, and I think it worked pretty well at our Black History event to, again, have Dr. Thompson come in and talk about the history, and then to be more my piece was more anecdotal, if anything. So start with the history and then where we're going and what this means now to us.
History. This is a theme for this year.
And this
This
is where we're
we're talking.
We're talking to and where we're
And then
going.
proclamation about
Yes.
contributions.
Okay, that
That
sounds good?
feels good. That
Alright.
feels like, yeah.
Okay, so I will make those changes, flip that all around, and then get the clean copies to Ruth and to you, and, you know, wherever they need to be, okay?
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okey-dokey.
Any, just want to one more double check. Anything else people want to share before we say we're good to go?
Patients go after they get approved by the city council. Like, we don't have the mayor reading it, professing this proclamation, right? Does it go on the
No,
website?
we do.
It gets read.
It gets read at the
Either
meeting.
At the city council
Mayor
meeting?
will read it, or Councilor Andrade has read several of them if they've come from the Inclusivity Committee. Yeah, so they'll get read, and then, yeah, they don't get published per se. It's a resolution, so that gets put in the meeting packet in the permanent record for the meeting.
They get
Take
posted
place.
anywhere, like up in on the bulletin
We
board,
put
or?
all of the resolutions on the website, but only as a resolution. Yeah, we don't do anything on that. When we've done others that are like culturally specific, like the Native American one, that we actually put in a frame and sent the first year that we did it, but like the next year we renewed it. We didn't send them another copy, right? We just kind of put the original one. So, I mean, we can print them off on nice paper and do something with it, but we don't really.
What do cities do with proclamation usually?
Well,
Read it and then put it in a file?
the truth is, as we've talked about, proclamations don't really do anything other than say, here we are and here's what we proclaim. And they're not really meant to like really do anything other than to make that statement. And then it's up to people to act upon what they're proclaiming, right? And so we do events, we do outreach, we do education opportunities. So I think the Inclusivity has done a nice job of coupling these with events and with actions. Because again, one of the complaints when we talked about doing all these proclamations, well, we're just gonna do proclamations all the time. We're not really doing anything other than maybe a little bit of education with the proclamation. But I think we're doing a nice job. We're gonna talk about the banner pretty soon and then get into, and again, we can't do an event with every single
Yeah.
thing that we do. So little steps, we're getting there. But I wouldn't say they don't serve any purpose, but
They do, just to state intention and to put that into the world, it is something. And that can be very powerful. And you don't know where that seed of thought will grow or go.
And in all reality, we can read proclamations from other cities
Yes.
and everywhere. We can, you can.
And we can go back and
Research.
read our proclamations. If somebody wants to move here, they could look at our website and be like, hey, this is what it's about. This is Philomath.
If someone did a Google search for Women's History Month proclamations. Sorry, I don't want to get lost in the weeds here. I know we have limited time, but I'm just wondering, would it show up?
Albany shows up.
Okay.
The President Carter's shows up.
It just
Go ahead,
depends on
Jessica.
how, sorry, I was just going to say it depends on like how traffic heavy it is, like through Google or whatever search engine you use. But if you put Philomath and then Women's History Month proclamation, as soon as it's on the website, then it'll pop up. So, and then also I just wanted to chime in that proclamations can also be used to some degree as a way of accountability, of just kind of like, hey, council, you said this, this is what you stand by, and yet you do this thing. Like, what's going on here? As a reminder, this is what we value. So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah, they're just living documents.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any input on our proclamation? We can move on to our banner discussion. And in the packet, there are the banners that we
I like this one.
looked at last month. and then 3 new banner choices to look at.
And to clarify, we, in theory, we could, I had just said these are some of the ideas we thought of incorporating, like, do with it what you will. And so these were the first page of designs are what was sent. And so in theory, I would think that, like, if we decided we didn't want the braid on the top and the bottom, and we only wanted it on one spot, then we could do that. Or like on number, or not have 2 braids for like the second one, or change the message. Like, I think we can do like small tweaks like that, but these are kind of the main templates, I guess, to choose from. So that's
Designer, I always have thoughts. I really think the first one works best, but I would switch it to a white background, and I would get rid of the braid at the bottom. Because again, when you're printing, and also from just a perspective of inclusivity and like how you see this, is a lot clearer again, and will be cheaper if we print them with this white background. The colors pop out. You can see each frame pretty nicely, and then. But the problem right here is you can't see the words. Again, I'm not just gonna say it's a concussion going on, but the banner not having a white background and not having the banner, it's hard for me to see. And it just, again, that's where I'm at. And then I really like how if the figures are at the bottom without the braid, that I feel like is a distraction. I like it on top, but, and then, yeah.
Mhm.
I think there should be a white background. I think it's too hard to read. I'm almost thinking the words inside the banner should be in black font, just so it sticks out more.
Yeah.
Leave the blue banner, but black text,
Yeah.
just so it pops more. Together.
I'm sorry, can
At the top.
you repeat that? The audio got cut off.
The braid at the bottom so that it's connecting the women all together, and take off the one at the top. But that's just me.
Oh,
I agree, because it sandwiches it. Is that what you're saying?
I get what you're saying.
Well, it just the colors of the women or the outlines and the colors of the braid are interwoven. And I think when I suggested the braid at first, it was that was kind of the goal.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? I think I might have misunderstood.
That what did I say?
You said that you like she likes the third one, the braid on the bottom, because it weaves all the women together. And
no, I like the first one, but just the braid at the bottom, not the braid at the top.
Yeah, just the braid at the bottom. But would you have
Okay,
the
that's what
background and the background white? Yeah, so the one at the bottom.
Got it. Cool. Thank you. Personally, I like having the braid at the bottom as well, because it sandwiches it, where you have the board, like, it's kind of like a border. You have the braid at the bottom and the banner at the top as being like sandwiching the faces, just aesthetically speaking. But I also like the unity part of interweaving, all the different colors of the women silhouettes. So
If we take off the top braid, we might be able to make the banner larger, have equity together on top of each other, and make it even more able to see.
Like the third one.
Yeah.
So I think we're saying maybe keep the braids for the third one, and just change the banner. Like
Third
the
one,
banner.
drop the top braid.
yeah, chop.
Put put the ribbon in place of the plaque.
Yeah.
Yes. Got that, Chris?
Yeah. Well,
And
I've used
Oh,
this ribbon before, and the shorter it gets and fatter it gets, the funkier it starts to look. It
Indeed.
really looks good
Stretched out.
stretched out. So
Yeah.
if you're going to use that ribbon, I would recommend keeping the words side by side. And
I
maybe
agree.
make them a little taller, but I wouldn't stack them
And
on
if the
top.
letters are
So-
black instead of purple, that may.
So like, yeah, you might want to come in again with like, because if everything's stacked, you're gonna get this.
Black lettering.
Yeah, like you'll like again, and I actually just working on a banner, but yeah, if you just make the equity again, this black color, then together, all that, it'll be good.
Do we have those changes there, Jessica?
sorry, what was that?
Do you have the changes jotted down?
Yeah, I do have a question though. Did we want equity? Is everyone okay with equity together, or did you want a different thing written down? And do you want it? If you want equity together, do you want the comma, or do you want it just as without a comma?
Make it without the comma.
I think so too. No comma.
Okay, I have all of those written down. So how does everyone feel about having the third design banner with banner design, there we go, with the top braid removed, the plaque being exchanged for the ribbon, the and it's still saying equity together all the way across, but it be black black lettering on the blue with no comma. I think that's what that was all of it, right? How do people feel about that? Any thoughts? Any objections?
Is the banner blue or is the banner white?
Blue banner.
The
Blue
White
banner,
background.
white background of
Oh, I thought the banner would be white because
Yeah, I hear
No,
two
it's white
things.
on
That's why I'm asking.
The ribbon is blue?
yeah,
Ribbon.
but not on the inside because that again, like Chris was saying, you can see on the third image, it's a lot easier to see with the banner, the coloring not being filled in. So it's just it's gonna make everything pop a lot cleaner than if you try to. You can see, maybe not on my piece of work. There's the words they don't pop the same way as you can see here. With the white background, they're gonna pop, and it's really easy to see. So that's what I would just suggest. And also, again, it's gonna be a better printing quality, and you won't get this slight run that you're seeing here.
Okay.
Sorry, that's just my opinion.
So are you suggesting white ribbon on top of white background?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think.
Okay, I just wanted to
And just
clarify.
And black text, yeah.
Yes, with the black
It's-
text. Okay, how do
yeah.
people, is everyone okay with that? Any thoughts?
I like the third one the way it is.
Better. That's okay. Sorry, Nora. Go ahead.
Nora,
Nora,
don't you like the
please.
third one the way
Well,
it is?
I mean, you can read it and, and
Yeah.
the top ribbon is, smaller and, I like the ribbon on the bottom and it seems well balanced to me. But that's just my opinion.
It is. It's a lot easier to see.
Yeah, you can see it. And it doesn't have, I feel like the black printing, it might, I don't know. You can see it really well this way. It's not, is it purple? Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
purple.
about the black being, I mean, it would really stick out, but anyway, this one works really well.
It's pretty.
But
Yeah, you could keep it if you have the back again white. It could work with the purple lettering. I might, yeah. Just
Well, the background is white on the third one.
take so the banner has always been kind of historically part of the women's movement, right? So that has significance. I'm not saying I actually really do like this other one, the third one, but if you take away the blue background or the purple background, and we have a white background, and the inside of the banner is also white, then yes, you could do purple lettering. That is like the third one. It would be clear then. But
What was the reasoning for removing the top braid?
Just looks better.
For me, it felt a little too busy to have all of that. And so that's why I thought maybe having it, but honestly, like, to me, it's
So that'd
not a
be the
big
same.
deal.
So that'd be the same for the third one. Do the third one, except remove the top braid.
And maybe move things up a little.
Center the equity together up a little bit more. On the first one, the braid is taller, so the
That makes
heads of women are higher centered as well. So if you did that women outline with the taller braid, then you could squeeze equity together up a little bit more where that braid is now, and it might fit better, or keep it where it is and just move equity together more and have more white space around it so it pops. So I just want to point out that those braids are different heights, and the one on top obviously is much narrower even, or shorter.
I hate to be the outlier here, but I do think that having the two braids together, like the third one, I've seen the Black History banner, and when you see it as a banner, it is nice for your eyes to be like, oh, you're looking at two pieces that are, together. It kind of cements the design idea. But I'm not this is not the hill I'm gonna die on.
Same.
I got too many other banners to work on.
Oh, are you saying that it's more blended or it blends better? Because it is like, this top and then, a bottom. There's that black line there. Maybe we don't need that black line in between the two.
Underneath history.
Yeah.
Just have it be a purple block.
But we have,
You have to have that.
I kind of like it, but Nora,
Uh-huh.
you probably know more about art than
No.
the most
Well,
I've been alive. I know you know. I came to your house as a child. I think so. I will bend to whatever you guys decide.
So all I'll say is that let's not spend more than 5 more minutes on this, since it is, as a time check, it is 6:25, and so overall, whatever we decide, white background. That's what I've got so far.
So what I'm hearing is,
Thanks,
Go for it,
Chris.
what I'm hearing, and I don't throw rocks yet. It's number one, except with a white background, and instead of the ribbon, it's the equity together, and we're removing the top braids.
That's number 3 without the braid, the top braid.
That's a good way. Well, I was looking at the.
Oh, you're talking about the placement.
The expansion of the.
Keep the banner, but that's only because it's historical. The banner.
The ribbon.
Yeah, the ribbon is historical.
So it's number one, but without the braid on top.
And
With a white background.
A white background, and we'll
And a white
raise
ribbon.
the ribbon up just a little bit to fill that space.
Yes.
And the ribbon is white with purple or black lettering.
With a white background, it could be either. So purple works. I'm fine with purple. I like adding color, but
Just wanted to double check on that.
I care.
These are the vital conversations that we.
Got it.
Welcome.
That all works for
Very
me.
important.
Okay.
It's like, I don't really care, but I like it like this.
Okay.
Compromise.
And then is Diane still the one that's sending these on and getting them printed, or is somebody else doing that, or?
Yeah, so I was emailing Diane and she was sending that to whoever her contact is. But if you, it sounds like you have it written down. Would you be able to send that to her and maybe CC me so that I have a, I didn't get all of it. There's only so many versions that I can understand my scribbles of.
Yeah. I'll email
Thank
it to
you.
both of you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good job,
Thank you,
everyone.
thank Okay, moving right along. We're taking a look at our inclusivity calendar. So we have down for April, which is National Holocaust Remembrance Day. We need a social media post, and Zena, you're kind of in charge of that.
I do not do
Raise your
so.
hand.
I
Oh,
Oh, for info.
Yeah.
Oh,
info to go on the
yeah,
post.
I will give you the info to go on the
Okay,
post.
yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
not be
Well-
writing posts.
No.
Okay, good. I don't do social media.
to
wait,
double
that was- Go ahead, Jess.
sorry, I was just gonna say I didn't hear back from you, Zena, so I kind of figured that we are just going to skip because we'd have to approve the post today since. Wait, no, never mind. Sorry, I don't know what month it is. I lied. Never mind. So Zena, are you still good?
Good,
For
yeah,
vol-
for getting the information together, yeah.
Gosh, I don't know why I thought it was March. That was weird.
Because it
Anyway.
almost is.
Well, it's almost few more
Well, I
days.
thought it was the March meeting, even though I know it's the February meeting. Anyway, time is a construct. Cool. Okay, if you need help, I'm happy to help. Take it away, Jane. Sorry.
Okay, that being said, we'll move right along. May, then, we're still just looking at our calendar. May is National Asian American and Pacific Island Heritage Month. And
I have not drafted the May post,
Rose
but I
is-
will.
okay,
I plan to have it at next meeting.
okay, Rose is on the agenda for that. June then is our LGBTQ event, and Rose is in charge of that. So is she in charge?
Of
We have
Pride.
a Pride event update. We have a Pride update event page here in our packet with some main
You
contributors.
gotta let me know
My bad.
that first.
Are we gonna look at the proclamation? Is that where the proclamation goes first, or the event?
To
Or
me, it
whichever.
doesn't matter. But we probably should get a volunteer for July. So that we
July's
can,
Independence Day.
yeah, I believe we have a social media post scheduled for that. So the idea with having this here, inclusivity calendar, April through July. So we had agreed that we'd at least try to start talking about the thing that we have chosen to highlight 3 months in advance, like to start talking about it 3 months in advance. So that's why I have that there, because like even though we still have one more meeting to decide on April and we have 2 more meetings to decide for like May for social media posts and stuff, I was just trying to get ahead by having us talk about it and get people to volunteer. so so it's okay that we don't have those. Oh, hi Christopher. So it's okay that we don't have those
social media
posts to
posts?
review.
It's a social media post.
What
Yeah,
is
so
the honoring?
4th of July.
Independence Day.
We'll let you handle that one.
So would anyone like, or wait, sorry, did someone volunteer? I couldn't hear.
Handle that
If-
one.
Would someone like to volunteer?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say,
Thank
Christopher,
you.
you're late.
There's
You
a lot of
can do
eyeballs
it.
looking at me
You
right
can
now.
just, you're late.
About time you volunteered for something.
Thank you very much. Cool. Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. That being said, now the next page of my packet was our resolution, our inclusivity resolution. Somehow or another that got shifted. And our Jessica, we want to review that to see if there's any changes that need to be made or tweaked.
Yes, so to review, this is the proclamation that started the Inclusivity Committee. It was in response to the murder of George Floyd. And so this proclamation was born from that and from uh, community members coming to council saying, why haven't you put out a statement? We want to know that that the city values and that the city's leaders value Black lives and don't, and are against, discrimination and hate and all that other everything that's in the proclamation, basically. Um, and so council members came together, and the public were invited to also participate. Um, and this is what we came up with, and it's gone through a couple edits here and there. I will note that uh, Maeve in the past had recommended that we add a land acknowledgement. And that was something that we all were very interested in, but just didn't have the time to do due to like when we needed to review and send it to city council. Um, and so that's something to consider for us to consider. Do we still want to include a land acknowledgement? And if so, um, is there anyone who is interested in taking the lead on those edits? So, plus any other suggestions and thoughts you have.
I think it's important that we do add a land acknowledgement, and I would be willing to help with that. I will, or maybe Chaz too, but I have another meeting and it will be with Dr. Whitebear that's coming up for MLK Park, so I'll ask them then and see. I know it's not really flown, but I will ask them what they think.
Some help on that too.
Thanks.
Um,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, does it have to, when does it have to be fixed? I mean, not fixed.
So, I mean, we're trying to, this needs to get in front of council the first meeting of June, I believe. Is that correct, Chris?
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll see them on the 13th, so.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, if we could, basically, it'd be nice to have edits for our next meeting next month, but because this isn't going to be, like I said, it's not going to be seen by council until June. And that goes for any of these edits, any other edits, if people think that we should add something, if we should remove something, whatever. We have time. The reason why, again, the reason why we're looking at it now is because it's 3 months, February, March, April, May. It's about 3 months away. Yeah, 3 months before the June meeting. There we go. So.
So we will work on that for our next meeting.
Well, I guess, does no one else has any thoughts on the proclamation? Cool. And Jane, did I hear correctly that you said you would also help with
Yeah, I'll
the...
give Sina a hand with it, yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
I think in the spirit of trying to coordinate better with outside organizations, like maybe running it by the Pride Center or OSU, NAACP might want to take a look at it. So I can reach out to a few people and get feedback like that.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Collective feedback and bring it back in the March meeting. Maybe talk to Maeve.
Okay. So
Thank you.
the three of us down there as a little group. Okay. Do we want to go over the update for the Pride event?
I'd love to share about the update for the Pride event. So on the little briefing thing I made up, the time on there, I don't know where that came from.
I was wondering about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a typo. I have no idea. Yeah, no way. The time, so essentially, Philomath Pride started 2 years ago in 2022. It was a grassroots effort. We had it at shelter number 2. It's people, a bunch of different donations that came through. It was basically the community just wrapped their arms around us and gave us everything that we needed. Last year we moved to the Randy Kugler shelter, so larger space, and we had the gazebo as well. That's where our DJ was set up. I would count over a 4-hour period about 150. Didn't count heads, but that was a guess. We incorporated community partners. Maxativity came through with us for the craft area. They brought some supplies and then used the supplies that we already had to do activities with everybody. A lot of people came through. The Pink Flamingo Brigade, so that's our safety team. So I called them vibe checkers. And so that was something that we introduced. Everyone was wearing pink tie-dye shirts, so you were able to identify them. They were helping with traffic and then kind of incorporating themselves within the event as well. The Zen Den, we got a lot of good feedback about that too. That was basically just a canopy that we put tapestries around the edges of. So it was more of like kind of an enclosed space, made it very welcoming with fidgets and coloring books and all sorts of things that if people were getting too overstimulated at the event, they could go to the Zen Den. And I got feedback from a few people that were like, I would have left if the Zen Den wasn't here. So I really appreciate that being there. So I think having that for our newest neurospicy friends or people who just don't want to be around a bunch of people, I think that is a good thing. We partnered with Philomath Fire and Rescue. We had an EMT on site. They brought the big fire truck, not the big fire truck, but they did have a fire vehicle there, which was cool. And then the Eugene Gay Men's Chorus was doing a event that evening, and so they reached out to us and asked if they could just do an impromptu performance, and so they performed there. No, sorry. So the reservation has been made for June 15th. It's a Saturday. It is Father's Day weekend, but it's not on Father's Day.
Good.
So the reservation covers both the Randy Kugler shelter, the gazebo, and shelter number 2. So essentially, we have reserved the entire park. The hindsight that I realized from last year's was that if someone's renting shelter 2 and we're holding this event at the Randy Kugler, we're taking all the parking. So I wanted to have that whole space. The city has waived the reservation fee, so it's going to be an official city event. I guess we're still kind of figuring out what that's going to look like exactly.
It's just, we're going to cover liability wise and everything else as if it was a city event. So like it is a city event. So it doesn't change a whole lot other than we're not charging the fees and
Right. Help with promotion.
yeah, absolutely. Promotion. There's some funding the city council can alleviate or authorize.
And then just the last little bit of some ideas. So the group that's been doing the Pride event, we are trying to focus on sustainable growth. And so there's a million different ideas that everyone can come up with, but trying to add one new thing each year. So it has that kind of,
Organic growth.
yeah. So Pride Parade has been something that we've gotten feedback as the group that the community would love to see. Even at the first Pride event, that was something that we got feedback on. We partnered with Philomath High School last year, but that wasn't like officially official. So I'd love to like hammer that down that that's like where the parking's going to be. I did get permission, but it was like the day before the event. So.
The Philomath way.
Yeah. And then there was talk about like celebrating the volunteers or having an after party or something like that, or some sort of
would be
like
nice.
feedback thing after the event. Oh my god.
Awesome.
The other one was moving the Zen Den to shelter number 2. So it's even further away, but I thought, I don't know if that was too far away.
Has to have some cover.
Thinking. That's all. I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that very detailed overview. Do you have specific asks of the committee, or like, yeah, I guess what can we do? Or is that something you could come back later with?
Email from Jessica about a planning meeting, which I have not scheduled yet, but I will. And then anyone who wants to participate in that planning meeting will kind of be able to give us the meat of what we're going to bring to the March inclusivity meeting. Okay. So I'm hoping that we can all kind of rally the troops. And
will I be honored with coming up with a new logo this year? All right. Last year was flamingos, so I'm wondering what it'll be this year.
Because of pink flamingos.
I know pink flamingos, but give me more time because
I'm trying to make a connection. I don't know.
We made the connection. It was fun, but if I could get that sooner than later to start designing it, other than like a few days before.
So yeah, keep looking out for an email. I just need to solidify a day that we're going to make that happen. Probably mid-March, before next inclusivity meeting.
And do you know how much you spent last year on, like, consumables?
Majority of things were donated. So we put up a Amazon wish list on the Facebook page. The Philomath Pride has its own Facebook page, and people were just buying it off the wish list. I did not want to touch money, so
I spent $110.
Yeah, on your other cookies
on
and stuff.
food and
I would put it total maybe $350. Not much. I mean, a lot of things were donated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And a lot of things are probably still in your garage, maybe.
I do have some. I have supplies from last year's or the last 2 years. So that was one thing that I'll try and bring to the March meeting is a inventory of what we have. So. Also asking who wants the space back in the garage. Would the city store any of that stuff?
You have a self-storage unit.
It's okay to say no. I'm just asking on his behalf.
See how much we're talking about.
Will there be a place for people who are unable to attend in person to Zoom in?
That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it?
One of the suggestions that we got last year was doing a live feed at the event on the Facebook page. So maybe.
I mean,
if I could find someone to do it.
don't spend your time on that. But
put it on the list.
for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. The next task we can look at is we have our Heritage Celebration and Awareness banner. I believe that's September. I believe that's for September.
No, so okay, so the next thing regarding the Heritage Celebration and Awareness banners is so we kind of haven't been planning which banners to do. They've kind of just Diane has been very proactive about asking her friend to design potential banners for us. And so currently, the only one on our list that we have designs for are, well, we have two. I lied. We have two. One is Poverty in America Awareness Month, which was January, but we didn't have time to talk about those before because we didn't have a December meeting and we had other stuff to talk about in like November and October. And then the next one is Indigenous Peoples Day. Those are, we're waiting to hear back from, Chaz reached out to the tribal nations to ask if we could get their feedback on the designs and whether we could use their, I don't know the proper word for it, the seal, I guess. Is it the seal that they use for to represent their tribes on the banner? So we can't really do anything with that one. We could review Poverty in America Awareness Month, but we'd be super ahead of schedule. And then, or we can start thinking about what next month we want to tackle designs for. So this is kind of an open-ended, like, thoughts, people.
For this design, are we paying for these? Or have these been
She's
donated?
volunteering her design.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We're only paying for the banners to be actually printed.
I think in the same way that I would love to have like a pride subcommittee of inclusivity, it would be great to have a banner subcommittee that could make these decisions and talk about banners and design,
I would share that.
and then bring that to the inclusivity meeting. I like that idea of kind of splitting up the work and then bringing it back to for the people that really, really are talented and care about.
I like having
Awesome.
9 people around the table all trying to design a banner.
That would be great.
It's even more fun when you're trying to listen to it in the car. And you can't actually see what they're talking about. Yeah, it's like, yeah, right. And I'm like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I noticed you didn't participate in that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't even ask.
I really like that. It does come here. Like I think it's great if we can split up the work. To have so many people giving their input.
For sure. So on that note, thank you for the reminder. For whatever reason, I keep forgetting subcommittees. I don't know why. So are we all in agreement that we could at least have a banner subcommittee? And then, Rose, how did you want the Pride subcommittee? Is that something to like?
I don't know.
Okay, then for now, do we want to have a banner subcommittee?
I don't know what I need.
I think would that just be me? I mean,
No, I would.
Diane, because I'd be happy to step in and help also design banners because I'm always designing banners and things like that.
So there's a couple things. One, I don't want to step. There's a concern, and there is a way to make sure that everyone is offered the opportunity to join a subcommittee. So the one concern is that this person is volunteering their time and stuff, and so I don't want to step on their toes by
if that's
like
if there's no other people that want to do that, and then other people can show up, and then we can bring it to this. I mean,
so basically what I mean is like I would like to I think I wonder if a good way to go about this would be to talk with the designer, and maybe the subcommittee looks at their initial designs, or the committee comes up with design suggestions and takes it. Does anyone else share that concern, or
I think it's a potential concern. I think it's worth the ask on what the designer feels comfortable doing as a partnership with the city.
Okay.
Agreed. I want them to have to keep doing this work if it's important to them.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm just like, maybe we don't need a subcommittee then for that. I mean, I don't know if I can do more meetings. Like I could do emails and stuff like that and look at it and have conversations, but I don't know if we should be splitting our forces maybe right now.
So thank you.
Just given what we've been doing.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing is I'll talk with Diane and or the designer. Like, I don't have the designer's information, so somehow I'll have to talk with Diane in order to talk with the designer, to ask their thoughts about having some of us become more involved with the designing of the banners. That way there isn't so much back and forth of like, oh, or yeah, we love this, and also we have these other thoughts. And so, um, so how does that sound? And then if they're willing, seeing like how best we can help collaborate together.
I think it's best to talk to Diane and see. I mean, she really initiated this, so I definitely don't want any offense there to step on any toes there.
Agreed.
Oh, totally.
Concerned about the designer. I think she's doing it.
Fantastic job.
She's doing a good job.
For
So
sure.
I don't want to presume that the current process isn't working. I think the only thing that's really not working is Diana's not here to say, this is great feedback, I'll go get it fixed and bring back a final version of it. So I guess if you're going to form a subcommittee, then this body needs to agree that we're not going to nitpick the final design. We'll say, looks great. And if I have a problem, I'm going to go to the next meeting of the subcommittee and give input. But otherwise, we're not going to spend time re-evaluating something that a subcommittee's already evaluated. So,
Yeah.
so we either keep it at this level or we do a subcommittee and we let it go.
I think we should keep it at this level personally, but
I would be, oh, go ahead.
And maybe we're just tabling until Diana comes back.
because we can't make any decisions. Yeah.
Diane's gonna be here next meeting, or supposed to be.
I'd be open to it if she was open to it, but I'm not forcing anyone to man a subcommittee if they don't want to.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like we'll pause on that. And same with how we're going to choose which banner to do next, I guess. Okay. So then let's move on to age-friendly communities discussion. We only have 6 minutes. So I don't know how, I don't know if Jane, if you want to give like a summary and then end the ask in preparation for next meeting. Does that sound good?
Look at some age-friendly community information through AARP. That's where I started in my research. And then I looked into the World Health Organization, and both of those groups have a lot of information to read through. One of the things that was fascinating was that by the year 2034, which is not that far away, we will have more adults than children. So as the years go up, we end up with fewer children and more adults, meaning that we have to have more age-friendly communities where children and older citizens are able to get around. And that includes walking, bike trails, shopping. There's in the packet, I brainstormed and I've only been here 2.5 years, or almost 3 years. So I brainstormed what I knew was here in Philomath that I could just off the top of my head list. So I listed those things, and there are 8. There's a circle that they cut up into a pie wedge where they look at each, where they, meaning AARP, World Health Organization, and other groups, look at the elements that make an age-friendly community. So I wrote those down, and then I thought of what was available to us that I knew. And I looked at bicycling or bike ability and walkability. And for a bikeability, the one organization scored us, Philomath, as a 75 for bikeable and a 63 for walkable spaces. And then you go and you do a little bit more research, and AARP also has a networking. that gives our livability index score for our zip code as a 53. And it breaks it down into housing, neighborhood, transportation, environment, health, engagement, meaning social and civic involvement and opportunity. Within those bits of information, it breaks it down into what we're missing and what we have, and I can work together all that information on another page for our next meeting. The other thing is AARP has a wealth of information out there. Little booklets or pamphlets. A lot of their information can be downloaded to read on a computer screen if that's your choice of reading, or we can. I requested paper copies of one copy of everything that they had to offer. I can go back and request more copies. I can maybe request a dozen copies of one or two titles for the committee, and maybe we can start with there are two that looked really interesting: a roadmap to livability, which kind of breaks down all of the bits and pieces. We can look at that first and then see how we want to maybe find another way of how do we want to approach it. Do we want to look at housing or transportation? What category we want to delve into and do some research on to maybe present something to get us started.
That's
further.
good.
That does.
Thank you for your work on this.
Yeah, there was information about Portland. I did write that. I did include that in the packet. Portland had some interesting things that they were doing. Multnomah. I knew I was going to get
I
that
used to
wrong.
live
I've
there.
been saying that wrong all along. But they've done some work on age-friendly communities. So it's out there, and communities are beginning to really take a good look at what we need to change. And I think Philomath is in a good place because we are working on that now. We are working on the cityscape, and we're working on improving the parks and our bike trails and our walkability. So with all of that, I think we're in a good place to go, okay, this is where we need to go with what we're already doing, and how we can add to it, maybe benefit more. Very interesting.
A book I would recommend is called The Walkable City,
Okay,
and it's very wonderful.
cool. I will write that down and take a look at that. But that's what I had so far.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess to clarify, what is it that you would like the committee to think about, look into? Is there a specific ask that you have from us?
I think right now, maybe what we can do to start us off with is take a look at the AARP, that network of age-friendly states and communities, that little worksheet or that little flyer that they send out, and maybe see where we can go from there.
To double check, are you talking about the last document in the meeting
Yes.
packet?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Maybe
And
take a look at
so we'll bring back ideas and such next meeting.
And
Okay.
I'll send out and request multiple copies of the roadmap to livability, and we can take a look at that as well, and then see where we can go from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jane.
Thank you.
Okay, now that we are at the end of our meeting time, I'll just note that our next meeting is March 26th at 5:30. And we have agenda item topics. We're going to talk about the council co-chair. And then, sorry, Jane, I didn't mean to do that. Go ahead, do your thing. Gosh, it's really weird. Like I'm getting ready to fly back to Oregon, so yeah, really sorry for how difficult it's been to try to to do this, but I'm hoping that once I'm back, that things will be smoother.
That's fine.
So
In that topic, in the topics we'll cover also, we'll be taking a look at the calendar again, looking at our Inclusivity Proclamation, the Pride event, our Heritage Celebration and Awareness banners, and our Age-Friendly Communities discussion will continue.
Great.
is there anything? Well, yeah. Is there anything else that should be on our radar for next meeting, or any ideas to put in the parking lot to revisit at a later time?
I thought you meant actually like things we wanted to put in the parking lot, and I was like, did I miss something?
Half accessible
I was
to
like, wow, like Leo really must have cut out. I don't remember this discussion. Yeah, I was like,
stretched with so many things
yeah.
to do this month.
ADA ramp?
I wouldn't say no to a full bar.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, I guess with that in mind, we could adjourn for this evening. And good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
know,
See you soon.
Bye.